Mars is often described as humanity's next giant leap. Of all the planets in our solar system, it's the one that looks the most promising for people to someday live on. That's why space agencies like NASA and private companies such as SpaceX have been working for years on blueprints to send astronauts there. But despite all the excitement, no one has pulled it off yet. So why is reaching Mars still out of our grasp? Let's break down the challenges. Back in the 1960s, the space race delivered incredible achievements. The Apollo program landed 12 astronauts on the moon across 6 missions. For many people, that sparks the question, if we could do that half a century ago, why can't we just go to Mars now? After all, astronauts regularly spend months aboard the International Space Station today. The truth is, traveling to Mars isn't just a longer moon trip. It's a leap into an entirely different scale of difficulty. The first and biggest issue is distance. The ISS circles Earth at only about 250 miles above the surface, less than the drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. The Moon, on the other hand, is nearly 240,000 miles away, which already required enormous rockets and daring missions. Mars, by comparison, sits tens of millions of miles away. When Earth and Mars align favorably, the minimum distance is around 34 million miles. At other times, it's several hundred million. That's not a little farther. That's a whole new category of far. This scale difference becomes clearer when you compare past missions. John Glenn's Mercury flight in 1962 used a 120-ton rocket to launch a one-man capsule for a few hours in orbit. Apollo 17, the last lunar mission, relied on the massive Saturn V rocket weighing nearly 3,000 tons to send 3 astronauts on a 12-day round trip. Now imagine Mars. A crew of 6 traveling not for days, but for more than 900 days. The jump in requirements is staggering. A realistic Mars mission would take about 6 months just to arrive, then force the crew to wait more than a year on the surface until the planets line up again, and finally another 6 months to return. That's 2.5 years in total, and that means mountains of food, water, oxygen, and spare parts. Unlike the ISS, there's no quick resupply. Everything must be carried from Earth, which adds massive weight. Estimates suggest the spacecraft would need between 850 and 1,200 tons of fuel for a round trip. For context, the entire International Space Station weighs about 420 tons. Radiation is another enormous obstacle. Beyond Earth's protective magnetic field, astronauts are exposed to cosmic rays and solar storms at dangerous levels. Shielding against that radiation requires heavy protective material, again increasing the spacecraft's weight. On top of that, microgravity causes muscles and bones to weaken. Spending more than a year in zero gravity could leave astronauts barely able to stand once they reach Mars. Then there's the human factor. 2.5 years in a confined space with the same people, under constant stress, with no real-time communication to family back home. That's a psychological trial as much as a technical one. Messages to and from Earth can take 10 to 20 minutes. Forget live conversations, everything is delayed. And once on Mars, astronauts would still have to live in small, pressurized habitats while facing dust storms, freezing temperatures, and a toxic atmosphere. And once on Mars, astronauts would still have to live in small, pressurized habitats while facing dust storms, freezing temperatures, and a toxic atmosphere. And once on Mars, astronauts would still have to live in small, pressurized habitats while facing dust storms, freezing temperatures, and a toxic atmosphere. Optimists argue that our technology is good enough today, and what's missing is simply the funding and political will. NASA takes a more cautious stance, projecting that the first crewed mission might happen in the second half of this century. Elon Musk, always bold, has talked about sending people to Mars in the 2030s. But the scientific consensus is clear. The hurdles are massive, and we're not there yet. Will humans set foot on Mars within our lifetime? It's uncertain. What we do know is that this would be the most ambitious space project humanity has ever attempted. And whether it happens in 10 years or 50, the dream of reaching that red dot in the night sky continues to inspire us to push further. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the wonders of space. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.